If you're keeping up with big business, then you'll know from my last video that the UFC bought Pride Fighting Championships from Japan back in 2007 for about 70 million bucks. Woohoo! But we got some good fighters out of the deal. Mirko Cro Cop, right? We got Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, Mauricio Shogun Hua, so on and so forth. Well, in 2011, the UFC purchased another competitor, Strikeforce. Let's go through it. So in 2011, UFC purchased the other competitor, the other legitimate competitor that they had, which was Strikeforce, for about 40 million bucks. They had a good roster of homegrown talent, like Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold, to name a few. UFC did what most monopolistic and successful businesses do. They bought their competition. Just like back in 2007 when they bought Pride Fighting Championships for about 70 million bucks. Now with Pride Fighting Championships, they got about 7 really good fighters who did pretty well in the UFC. Check out my other video, check out the link below, and it describes the whole situation. It's pretty crazy. Like Mirko Cro Cop, Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, they got good fighters for them. But Strikeforce, UFC got about 20 fighters, and let's talk about 14 of them. 14 of them ended up pretty good in the UFC. We'll go through them real quick. First on the list, Daniel Cormier, our beloved Daniel Cormier, UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champ, one of the pound-for-pound best ever, 22-3 overall. He was 8-0 in Strikeforce undefeated, 11-3 in the UFC. Now, since August 2020, he's been a UFC commentator, interviewer, podcaster, etc. He's just wonderful on the mic, very intelligent man, and a real visual representative of Popeye's chicken. Remember that silly dance he did with the drumsticks? Forgive him for that. Remember him for his past, for his fighting past. Please. And we have light heavyweight Gegard Mousasi. Gegard Mousasi. It is what it is, man. Forgive him for his name is what it is. That's how you pronounce it. That's how all the UFC commentators pronounce it. Gegard Mousasi. All right, he was 49-9 overall. 4-1 Strikeforce, 9-3 UFC, 7-3 Bellator. He's had a monstrous career. I think he's finished now. I don't know what he's doing, some commentating overseas in a different language. I don't know, something. What a great career he had. But we got him, remember? Remember him? Remember? And middleweight, American hero, Tim Kennedy. 18-6 overall, 6-2 in Strikeforce, 3-2 in the UFC. American hero. And then Lorenz Larkin. Not if you remember this guy, but he had a great career. 24-8 overall, 4-0 in Strikeforce, 5-5 UFC. Then he went over to Bellator and went 8-3. I don't know if he made any money, but he had a pretty goddamn good career. Continuing with the middleweight class, Luke Rockhold, our beloved Luke Rockhold, 16-6 overall. He was 9-0 in Strikeforce, 6-5 in the UFC. They needed some bare knuckling, he did some podcasts. I think that's what he's doing now, podcasts. Good for him. Oh yeah, remember Luke Rockhold dated Demi Lovato for a little while, and then after he dumped her, she went all squirrely and didn't know who she was or what she was. Sorry. Ronaldo Jacare Sousa, 26-10 overall, 7-1 in Strikeforce, 9-7 in the UFC. Another great guy, great career. I think he's doing commentating overseas in some different language as well. I don't know, something. Who cares? Welterweight. You remember Nate Marquardt? That's the name. Hey, Nate Marquardt was something else, man. He was jacked up. 36-20 overall. That's 56 fights, man. 10-4 in the UFC. 1-1 in Strikeforce. Came back to UFC, went 3-8. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, I get it. He didn't finish off so well. But he was great while he lasted. I guess when you get off the steroids, you can't compete as well as you used to. That way of lightweight, Gilbert Melendez. 22-8 overall. 11-1 in Strikeforce. 1-6 in the UFC. What happened, Gilbert? Man, you got the worst name in the world, McGilbert. Lastly, in the lightweight division, we have Josh Thompson, 22-9 overall. He was 2-1 in the UFC, 10-3 in Strikeforce, came back to the UFC, and went 1 win, 3 losses, okay? Good career overall. He's going to be most known for that head kick knockout of Nate Diaz. The only one to ever knock out Nate Diaz. I don't like him for that. I like Nate Diaz better. A couple other notable mentions that came over from Strikeforce that nobody gives a shit about, but I'll mention them anyways in case there's a relative out there listening. Bobby Volker, Pat Healy, Kurt Holobaugh, Adriano Martins, Ryan Couture, KJ Nunes, Roger Gracie, and Gian Villante. I know who gives a shit. I know who cares. But again, there might be somebody out there who does. I doubt it. Obviously, Daniel Cormier was kind of the main big guy to come over from Strikeforce. What a tremendous career, still working with the UFC commentating. I want to go through what he made, what he earned in Strikeforce and then in the UFC. Total earnings and all that shit. Here it is right here. Check it out. Not bad. $11.6 million and change in his career, Strikeforce and the UFC. He's doing great. He's still making money now. Good for him. You know, I'm happy for him. Yeah, he is fat though, and he does that Popeye's chicken thing too. He makes money off that. So if he loses weight, Popeye's chicken will fire him. In 5 Strikeforce fights, Daniel Cormier averaged $68,000 per fight. In 15 UFC fights, he averaged $755,000 per fight. Let's stop saying people are underpaid. Please stop it right now. There you have it. UFC buys up all the big competition. 2007 Pride and 2011 Strikeforce. There's really nobody left. PFL went and for some reason bought Bellator. PFL was losing money. Bellator was losing money. Now they're both losing money together. It doesn't make any sense to me. And their last big pay-per-view heavyweight extravaganza, which was Ngannou versus Renan the Problema Ferreira. Well, they've got a big problema. It only sold 35,000 pay-per-views. It's a whole losing money venture, man. UFC's in a good position right now, and there is no one else to buy. Now, if they did buy PFL/Bellator, they could probably get it for about $10. Thanks for joining us on this lengthy video, more lengthy than normal, but covering Strikeforce and Pride, man, it's a big endeavor, but I think I did pretty well at it. Here's to all of you. This time of night, man, that ain't coffee, believe you me. Stay tuned for more. Become a subscriber. Very important. Oh, sorry. Thanks again, man. I didn't even know this was on.